Hey guys, I wanted to do a quick video today about scamming. And there's a fine line between scamming and being in poverty or being impoverished or poor or what have you, and hitting somebody up for money. Is that scamming too? No, it's probably not. It doesn't fall under the category of scamming, obviously. But scamming, there's a lot of people that consider that when somebody hits them up for money that they're being scammed or what have you. And a lot of times in the Philippines it is, and a lot of times it's not. And because of poverty, a lot of the guys in the Philippines tend to go after the really poverty-stricken girls here. It's not all of them, but a lot of them do. They go after girls that are really, really in poverty, and they're good-looking women, they're nice girls and everything, but sometimes those are the girls that are more than likely to scam you or be hitting you up for money. It could be either or. If they tell you that their uncle's brother or somebody in their family, their uncle's relative or something by marriage has somebody that's sick in the hospital or something, they need money right away, or they got a kid that's sick or something, make sure you verify it. Tell them you want to see a hospital bill. And then maybe you'll help out. That's a different thing than scamming. A lot of these people cannot afford to pay the bills. Let's face it. And if you want to help out and you want to be that way, that's up to you. But I myself would not help out people that are distant relatives or cousins or stuff like that. I mean, obviously, if it's a kid, I might get involved with something like that because everybody has a heart for a kid that's sick in the hospital or something like that. And it doesn't mean I'm always gonna be doing that, because it would be on a case by case basis, obviously. But anyway, I wanted to discuss this because I've heard a lot of people getting scammed or ripped off because somebody tells them, and this is usually where it takes place. If somebody asks you to borrow money, is a better than 50% chance usually in the Philippines, especially from somebody that's really doesn't have a lot of money or is working a small job and feeding his family or her family or what have you. It's very, very unlikely that they're ever going to pay you back. It's just very, very unlikely. Just be aware of that. A lot of the guys that have been here for years and have dealt with a lot of the girls here can tell you that that's just the way it is. They're not going to pay you back. Don't consider anything as a loan. Considering it as you're giving them whatever it is, 5,000 pesos or 1,000 pesos or whatever it may be. It may be way more than that. A lot of families here, when they have something tragic happen, usually when somebody dies, they give, I think they call alms or something like that. They give money to help for the cost to bury the person or whatever, and that's just part of life. Okay, that's just part of life. I mean, everybody is probably giving some sort of money, and the amount that they collect is very minimal, and a lot of times they'll look to the American to kind of kick in a little bit more. And it doesn't mean you have to give a king's ransom, but maybe you give like whatever you feel is fair. Some of these families are only given 100 pesos or 50 pesos or a couple hundred pesos or 1,000 pesos or 500 pesos. If you're American, they're gonna be trying to tap you for a little bit more. That's up to you. There's no set rate or fee that you have to give these people for things like that. It's not scamming you out of money. It's because somebody passed away. Usually the families here, a lot of them don't have the money to bury people. They just don't have it. Sometimes they can get money from the barangays or from the mayor of that town or what have you. They can get a little bit of money that way because they can't afford to bury the person. That's different. That's different than scamming. That's something where, it's for obvious reasons, wouldn't fall under scamming. Now, these hospital things, this is where we get into things that are a little bit tougher. For you guys that are back home, you're going to get a lot of girls that you're talking to, especially guys that are kind of doing the online dating thing, and they're talking to maybe 5 girls, or maybe they're talking to 20 girls, or maybe they're just talking to one. And what happens is the girl will say, my grandmother just went in the hospital yesterday and she's dying, and we need to get some money to pay her hospital bill. because we're trying to get her back to normal and blah, blah, blah. And, can you send me some money or whatever? And there's a very good chance that the girl's lying to you because, number one, she doesn't know you from a hole in the wall. She's going to act like you're her sweetheart. And most relationships kind of start out that way, and they do become legit relationships after a while sometimes. But sometimes these scammers, man, they can play you just as hard as a really good woman. There's good women out there that might ask you for help also. And the problem with being back in the States is you really don't know whether they're being truthful or not. So what would I say to that? How would I handle that? Well, I would say it this way. If you honestly believe the girl, I would help her out a little bit, but I wouldn't go help out too much. And that would be according to what you think you should do, because it's more likely than not that you're either getting played or scammed or what have you. And there's no way that you can prove that, and there's no way that she can prove that either, unless she goes up and shows her grandmother in a hospital bed and has her say hi to you or something like that, and you see all kinds of tubes in her arms and stuff like that. That's the only way that you can really tell. Now, will a girl do that? She might take pictures, say, "Well, I want to talk to her. Can I see her live with you now?" Because she might have pictures from a long time ago. She might have pictures from last year, of her aunt or grandmother that was in the hospital, and she's sending you pictures now of her sitting, right next to her grandmother or her aunt or somebody else's grandmother, and telling you that happened. These are things, guys, that happen all the time in the Philippines, and a lot of the guys that are back home are falling for these tricks. And then I get calls from them, and they say, "Yeah, I got scammed a couple of times." Well, dude, you got scammed a couple of times. Couple is at least two or more, probably. That's pretty sad. And what happens is usually when they get the money, they stop talking to you, or they try to continue the scam, and then try to hit you up for more money. And usually when they start hitting you up for more money, that's a sign that you've already been scammed, and it's usually too late. Okay, because and this is why I tell people, be very leery, guys, of what's going on out there, because I won't call people in the United States saps, but I mean, it kind of falls into that category that there are a lot of people that, some girls telling you that she loves you. You're kind of like a sap, you feel bad for the girl, and, you want to help her out, and you want to give her money, but, you fall into that category, I guess you could say, it's kind of sad. Some of the guys over here use the word simp. I hate that word, but, I would not recommend helping anybody. And just, if the girl's family can't take care of herself, do you want to come over here and take care of that family? Because if you get hooked up with that girl, you're going to be the one that they're tapping all the time for money. Every time something happens, if you're doing it now and you're not even here, when you get here, guess who they're tapping for money? You. Find a girl that won't tap you for money. There are girls over here that will not hit you up for money. I found one. I found one. They're out there. You can find them. There's girls that are independent and can take care of themselves. They work, and they just know how to take care of themselves. My girlfriend, when I met her, she was working, and when we got together, I asked her to stop working, and now I we live together. We're planning on getting married. She's, totally capable of helping me with everything around here. I can trust her with anything. But are girls like that a dime a dozen over here? No, they're not. No, they're not. And that's why you see a lot of guys over here. They come over here and they date maybe 10 or 15 women sometimes. And some guys get lucky and they hit one right off the bat, a really good girl. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 people. It varies. But the girls like that are not a dime a dozen. And some girls will hide it till they got a ring on their finger, or they're living with you or whatever. And then they'll just start. If they know that you're naive, especially the older guys fall into this category of what I'm about to say. The girls skim. They skim money. They'll tell, and many of us have fallen for this before, and what happens is they tell you it costs 3,000 pesos for Wi-Fi, or 3,500 pesos. and the person skims 1,000 off of that or whatever. That's skimming money, and that happens to a lot of expats when they're living with women and stuff like that. It's really kind of sad. But anyway, guys, I want to throw that out there today. It was something that was kind of on my chest. We often talk about scams and stuff like that, but I wanted to talk about that. But anyway, guys, God bless, take care, and enjoy your weekend.